Hey Bats and Ghouls, welcome back to the second episode of A Goth in an Alcove, and I am Ian, and I just want to start out by thanking everybody, both in my personal life and here on YouTube, that has offered some support and kind words about getting the channel going. So all the new subscribers, thank you. Everybody that's come around just because of me promoting it through my own personal Facebook, thank you as well. And it means a lot. So let's see where this endeavor takes us down the road. I'm definitely planning to go forward. I've already got some videos that I've shot, things I've filmed out and about, and I'll also be offering in the future some DIY stuff that I'm working on. Let's see, concerts, future conventions, some rambling. So yeah, thanks. If you watch the first video that I did, I started out with the Goth tag and I ended with the CD review. I'm going to do things a little different this time. I'm going to go ahead and start out with a piece of music that I think is important to share with you guys. If you have been in the Goth scene for a while, you know this band very well, maybe to the point of being sick of them, as being labeled one of the epitome of Goth bands. And then if you are a baby bat or just curious, this might give you some insight as to what the elder Goths grew up with, what they're still playing in Goth clubs to this day. And you know, you might like it, you might not. It's definitely not for everybody, but then again, Goth really isn't something that I feel is a universal subculture. So, throwing everyone for a loop, we started out this video with one song, part of the intro, and then I'm also wearing a Bauhaus shirt, and you would think that would be what the band was that I was going to talk about, but instead I'm giving you Sisters of Mercy. The album is my favorite from Sisters, Floodland. So if you're not familiar with who Sisters of Mercy are, it's really just one guy, Andrew Eldridge. Though back in the 80s he had a whole cavalcade of different members in the band, and one being Wayne Hussey, who moved on to start Mission UK. This is their second release. They put out 3 LPs, I believe, and this was number 2. So the history on this for me personally is that I found Sisters of Mercy really on their last LP, which was Vision Thing. There's some great songs on it, and I liked the sound. And I said, hey, this is pretty cool. So I went out and I had just kind of started going to goth clubs at that point, so I wasn't really familiar with all of their work. I think I had heard This Corrosion a bunch at the clubs, but I really wasn't familiar with the artist. So I went out and I bought Floodland, and holy shit. Like they've got First, Last, and Always, which is their first LP that came out, and there's great tracks on that. I love Black Planet. Marianne is also a great song to get out and dance to at the club, but for me it has to be Floodland. And off of this album there are 3 songs that you will hear in heavy rotation at goth nights, even to this day. This album came out, I believe it says here, 85. You will consistently hear Dominion, Mother Russia, Lucretia, My Reflection, and This Corrosion played at least once throughout the night at a goth club. And that's crazy. Like, here we are 30 something years later, and this band is still out there. You know, they haven't released anything new, but they're still out there in popularity within the subculture. That's some staying power. You can't deny that. Andrew Eldridge, he hates the goth label with a passion, but whether he likes it or not, he's become somebody, a herald for the goth rock movement. But I think they're great. So off of this album that I recommend, there's the 3 songs that I mentioned that you will hear all the time in the clubs. My favorite personal tracks off of this is Flood 2 and Neverland, which is pretty much just an instrumental. They actually call it Neverland, a fragment. It's an instrumental piece. It's very dark, sensual, God, I don't, it's just got, it like almost transports you to a Neverland, another world. And those really are my favorite tracks. And interestingly enough, I know for sure they use Neverland in American Horror Story Hotel. When I heard the track come on, I about like jumped out of my seat because, like I said, that's one of my favorite tracks, and I was shocked to see it put in such a mainstream fashion. Sisters of Mercy, they're kind of like a pop culture side note. You think of them as like quintessential goth, and but almost in a joking way. You see like The Cure, Joy Division, Sisters of Mercy, Susie Sue, and yeah. So while I do like First, Last, and Always, I hear cuts from that being played a lot more at clubs now because of this whole like 80s revival. And so everyone's like, oh no, you have to go back even further. You have to be like goth before, it was goth. You have to be like the gothiest of goth and go back to that first album. And I love it. Do not get me wrong. First, Last, and Always is great. Vision Thing has some really good tracks too. But, I think Floodland, he benefited a lot in their sophomore release. He had Patricia Morrison, who did backing vocals, and also, I believe she played bass on the album. So you had those benefits from her being there. It added a lot to it. He amped his game up with, adding more gravitas to the sound. He had like choir in there. You had more orchestrational. You had more rock. It just elevated the sound to a whole new level than what you had on very stripped down but excellent First, Last, and Always. So there you go, Floodland. Check it out. Cool, so we got that out of the way. And this episode of A Goth in an Alcove, I'm going to take you on a trip down to Spooky Empire. If you're wondering what the hell a Spooky Empire is, it is a horror slash pop culture convention based out of Orlando, Florida. And it's been going on, I believe, about 13, 14 years now. I started going in 2009. It's typically, in the beginning, it was based around, it was always in October, it was Halloween, and then maybe 5 or 6 years ago, they did an event they called Mayhem, and they put it in the summertime or closer to summer. And with that convention, the focus wasn't so much on horror and dark themed things. It was based more on just the pop culture angle. So this time around, they did it in March. Again, Orlando, Florida. They went back to their original hotel that they had hosted at for many years, and it's a really unique hotel. All of the hotel rooms are all in separate buildings that kind of gather around. They call it a resort. So it's a traditional hotel in the way the rooms are laid out, but the buildings themselves are separate. Most of the activities most of the fun activities, the socializing activities, take place at their pool area. So what's unique about Spooky Empire, and how does it relate to the goth subculture? First off, there's a lot of overlying aspects between goth and horror. There's a lot of classic horror fans that also enjoy goth music heavily. That was the biggest piece. In the past, they've had notable horror / goth celebrities, icons like Elvira has been a big guest at Spooky for many years. This past March, their guests were various cast members from the Addams Family. So they had Christina Ricci, Wednesday Addams. They had Christopher Lloyd, who played Uncle Fester, and Jimmy Workman, who played Pugsley, and Carl Stryken, who played Lurch. So that was kind of like a cool little reunion. They also had Fairuza Balk from The Craft. She was there. And then they had a few other celebs, and I feel bad that I can't remember who else was there exactly. But again, those were more, like I said, it's pop culture, media-based. They'll have panels where you can ask questions of the celebrities. They'll talk about their experiences in the movies. But then you'll also have autograph sessions where you can get your photo with them, get autographs. And then they have a tattoo parlor area where they've got tattoo artists from around the country that are there that you can get a tattoo on site. And then they also have a vending or dealer's room. And that part, that really is where the goth fashion side comes in and home decor. You can get band t-shirts, you can get movie t-shirts, pop culture type stuff. And then you've got a lot of craftsmen that come out with jewelry. We bought a few things at the convention. I bought my very first bat under a bell jar. It is a taxidermy bat. But this time around we got some shelving pieces as well as a coffee table conversation piece. So I'll show you those. I'm going to link the vendors down below, and then I'm going to roll the video for Spooky Empire and my journey there and back. One other part I want to mention about Spooky that was really cool when I talked about that pool area that people kind of congregate when they're not doing convention things. In the evening they have a DJ out playing. Sometimes they'll have live music that are entertaining to various degrees. But the DJ part was really cool because they went from playing your basic like top 40 metal, 80s hits, 90s hits, but they did play a lot of goth as well, and that was really cool. The other piece to that too is like we were out at the pool talking with friends, various different groups, and we talked a lot about goth music. Imagine that. We talked a little bit about fashion, we talked a little about the stuff that we had bought, all of us individually at the convention, but we talked music and what influenced us and what bands and what concerts we remembered going to, and what concerts were coming up and things that we all wanted to do together as part of the goth subculture. And this happened, we were there 3 nights, and all 3 nights, I have to say, it happened. And I made new friends, people that had been in the scene for a long time in other cities. It was just a great experience, and I would absolutely say if you have any horror conventions or pop culture conventions that you feel might have a darker tinge to it, it's a great way to meet people. You see all sorts of fashion and costumes, and don't be afraid to walk up. So if you see somebody that has a really cool look, do not be afraid to tell them your look is rad and I really dig it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what we got, and then again I will roll you on to our adventures at Spooky Empire. Okay, so the first piece that I have that I want to show you, and I found adorable. The company first off is called Graven Goods, and I will again put a link to how you can reach out to them if you're interested. I'm not trying to sell anything because I get nothing off of this. I just thought that their craftsmanship was really good. I thought it would make some nice pieces for around my home, and I found them adorable and creepy and just beautiful all around. So what I picked up was this beautiful little bat who's been taxidermied and laid out in this nice frame. Their price range, I would say, is anywhere from $50 to $100 US. I want to say I paid $45, $50 for this, but don't quote me on that. And then the second piece I picked up was this beetle and moth, and I can't remember what the other bug is in here, but some little buggies all taxidermied together on a Ouija board in a nice glass display case. And that, again, the prices just range based off of what product she had to use for it, the preparation. They're not cheap, but they're not mega expensive. And again, that company was Graven Goods, and I'll put a link below. And then the next one that we picked up, and I'm going to show you this because I think it's really cool. It's not my style necessarily, but my wife loves creepy, cute, pastel goth type stuff, and she identifies herself as pastel goth, elegant gothic Lolita, but she listens to hella lot goth. Okay, she likes the bands. She likes goth music. Her fashion choice, she also likes bright colors as well as the dark, so you can just deal with it. But this little thing, it looks like a bowl of ice cream, and it's all skulls. There's little berries in there. You'll see some of the video that I did at the con that shows their display booth where they had everything. Their pricing is really good. I actually think that they're asking too little for what it is that they're making. but this company is called Mel's Crazy Creations. And again, I'll link her. We actually encouraged her to open up a Instagram account and to really like work her Etsy store, because I think she's onto something. She had a lot of other pieces in her booth that you'll see in the video that were very dark and very almost Giger-esque, if you're familiar with H.R. Giger. And so her stuff is really cool. I really recommend checking these two people out. The last one, I'll show you a video for it, or a photo, excuse me, in the video. This is what my wife picked up, this display curio cabinet that has, you can see in there's a giant moth. That's a lunar moth. That's her favorite type of bug. There's some little skulls in there. Like, all of that was hand done. None of this was like mass produced. This was a person that 100% made all the pieces on her own. The company is called K Creatrix. Again, I will put the link down below. And yeah, so that's what we picked up. Doesn't seem like a lot, but you know, for the two of us, my wife, she did pick up a few shirts, a few t-shirts. She got one. Oh yeah, here's it. The shirt it had the Alien Queen from the Alien franchise on it, and it said Yas Queen. So she liked it. She's a big Alien fan. And the company for that, I believe, was Crescent Creepers. If I get this wrong, I apologize. So anyways, we'll roll the video. All right, here we go. I am about to head off to Spooky Empire. I've got little Miss Bat next to me. Wave hi if you could. Yeah, little Miss Bat. We are leaving at 5:25 in the morning for Orlando, Florida, and enjoy the festivities of Spooky. We'll have some video footage for you, and peace.
I am the passenger, and I ride through the city's backside.
All right, so we just made it into Spooky Empire. Woo! And let's see, we got their little program guide, and we're super excited to be here. Tired. We're gonna go back to the room, change. Maybe get some cocktails together, I don't know, and go walk around, say hello to some friends, and start the weekend right. All right, hopefully you can hear me. All right, so here we are. We are going down to Spooky Empire. Second day. Last night was fun. Hung out at the pool, drank, a lot of good folks out. Not really packed, but it was a good crowd. You know, the music scene was good. It was like old 80s metal, and then they switched over to like Sisters of Mercy, KMFDM. So it was a good time, and yeah, that's it. So today I'm going to see if I can find Christina Ricci, Wednesday Addams, and hopefully they don't get a restraining order against me for going in and trying to get her autograph. And I'm going to show you guys some of the vendor room and look at all the goodies you can buy there, and maybe talk to a few vendors. And yeah, man, like that's it. Let's go get spooky. Best part of the con, Gizmo driving around in his little pink Barbie car. Somehow he's out in daylight and not dying. He was over by the pool area. We made sure he didn't jump in the pool. There he is. There's Gizmo, ready to take off. the last. Final day of Spooky, walking back into the con. And what's going on there? People goofing around, having some fun.
Oh my god, seriously.
All right.
Best mashup ever.
Yep. There's a Cousin It down there. You can see in the corner a little kid dressed up as Cousin It. That's great. Fucking great. Oh. And yeah, I'm weird for worse today, but we're gonna make the fun of that we can with this with the last few remaining hours of Spooky. All right, back in the vendor's room again, and I don't want you to think this convention is just about the vendor's room, but it's a big part of it. There's so many great people, so many creative people. So I say great because they're so creative. Like, I just love that flowing creativity that comes with the whole DIY stuff. Here's Walt Disney's Walt's head. And let's see, we got him. Yeah, there we go. All there together. Thank you, Walt. Yeah, only in Florida, Walt Disney's head. All right, so what did you guys think of Spooky Empire? I didn't really give you a full... That's just a small taste of what the convention is. You see there's a store opening up in Orlando very soon, I think in May. It's a Witch's Brew parlor. It's like a speakeasy. I'm gonna try to do a video review of that and take you guys in there with me. There's also one in Tampa, Florida that I'd like to go to called the Spookeasy, and again, it's another speakeasy kind of hidden bar. So those are some of the things I wanted to cover, and yeah, until next time, stay spooky.